Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Happy Monday, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to every single last one of y'all. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are all doing well out there, enjoying your days, baby. It is Monday. It's the top of the week. It's time to kick the day in the butt. Claim this week right now, saying that you're going to accomplish everything that you could ever fathom. You're just going to get out here and just crush the week starting right now. All right? Anyway. Hope you guys are all having a good one. Real talk, okay? It was a late show last night because I wanted to jump on and talk to you guys about this case with this unthinkable case that's been going on. There's been more information, more developments, etc. that we just talked about last night, but I kind of wanted to do a recap on a few things. And also, I don't know, y'all. I have many questions. I got many questions that are just flying through my head, trying to figure out what the hell is going on, what's actually the truth. And obviously, we still know, as far as we know, as far as the live taping of this show right now, all we know is that this person's still out on the loose. This monster is still out there. God knows where this person is. But now there's been a lot of questions popping off where we are hearing that things have gotten really graphic with some of the details that we have now learned last night. And of course, they've been talking about it in more detail, even in a lot of articles, even articles from today. And it is heartbreaking. And it still makes me wonder, what the hell is the truth? One of the main questions I have right now, was Kaylee GonCalves, was she a main target in this whole situation? Or was it somebody else in that house? Remember, two students survived, which of course there's some statements from the surviving victims of this heinous, unthinkable tragedy where 4 students lost their life in the middle of the night while they were asleep after a night of hanging out and kicking it. 2 students that were in that house on the first floor survived. They were never attacked. So the burning question still remains, because there's a lot of people that speculate because of one of the victims' injuries that she may have been the target of this heinous crime. So again, a lot of questions that I have. So before we jump into everything, I appreciate all y'all being here. Good morning. Happy Monday to every single last one of y'all. Be sure we got to do some housekeeping real quick. You know how we do. We got to hit that like button down below. All right. Hit it, crush it, make it scream out your name. Do not forget. So send that past 200 likes. I see a bunch of y'all starting to file in. Good morning. Happy Monday, y'all. And please do not forget, if you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe button, y'all. Please and thank you. All right. But we need to get down to the nitty gritty of all this craziness. So let's get into it, shall we? All right. As we talked about last night, the parents of Kaylee GonCalves went on to multiple shows, all right, multiple, to talk about this situation, to talk about this unthinkable thing that happened to their daughter and 3 of her friends right off of a college campus, University of Idaho. They lost their lives. And now a lot of people are still wondering, scratching their heads. The police are even scratching their heads, wondering what the hell happened here. And I got so many questions, y'all. I have so many questions. And hopefully we can get closer to understanding something. But in these interviews that we watched yesterday, which I might throw one of them back up just so we can kind of relive some of the information, just key points in the interview. There was just a lot of things that were said in a lot of the interviews, but one of the main interviews, one of the first one we watched in the very beginning, there was just a lot of questions that kind of sprung up that had me wanting to know just a tad bit more of what is really going on here. Was this a targeted attack? Was Kaylee a focus of this attack or not? Was it just a group situation? Was this monster did this monster go into the wrong room or go into the wrong place, accidentally taking the life of, I don't know, taking the life of Xana and Ethan, but then it made the mistake by going into the wrong room, thinking that they were in Kaylee's room with Madison? Like I said, inquiring minds, I got so many questions about this. And, after we talked about this yesterday, last night, okay? And C. King, I get it. You don't just accidentally do that. But I can see somebody going into a room thinking that they're in the right room. It's dark. I mean, I hate to get into those things, okay? Into those grisly, unthinkable details, but you got somebody who goes into the wrong room, does the act, and then realizes, whoa, wrong people, and just went upstairs. Or they just had some disgusting bloodlust to just do the unthinkable to 4 people. But then I question this then too. If you go do the second floor, do the third floor, why didn't they go down to the first floor and just do the unthinkable to all 6 rather than just 4? Again, I got so many questions about this, and it just doesn't make any bloody sense to me, okay? But again, hopefully we can talk about this as a family and get closer to understanding a little bit more of what the hell is going on here. But again, I'm still curious, and I still got a lot of questions. And it seems to me like Papa got a lot of questions as well. Steve Gonzalez, to me, sounds like he's got a lot of questions about this as well. But before we go into everything, Fifi Lefleur, thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome to the family. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate your support. And just like Fifi, you can become a member by hitting that join button down below and support this channel in any way, shape, or form you can. Now, the thing is there's a lot of information that I'm still gathering, that I'm still getting myself, because I haven't really been on this case as much because of my focus on Shanquella Robinson. But obviously with Shanquella Robinson, we're still waiting to hear more information. And it's just gotten really, really messy. And I've decided to step back. As soon as we get some more info, we can kind of look at some stuff and talk about that more. But now that I've been getting caught up with this case, it is strange to me that this is still, that the 5-0 still does not have anything. Zero. Nothing. Okay, we talked about it in yesterday's show, last night's show, and I showed it to you in an article showing that law enforcement has nothing. They have no leads. They have no suspects in custody. Zero. Again, zero. Nothing right now, which I can totally understand why the Gonçalves family and all the other families might be extremely frustrated right now. But the most vocal out of the four families right now is the Gonçalves family. Everyone else so far, from what we've seen, they've done some interviews and all that, but they've been very quiet. They've stayed back. And I commend the Gonçalves for being out here, the family, for being out here, being vocal, being present. Because it helps keep the story out here, helps get the conversation fresh. Because I know for a fact they are scared that this case could go cold. And it feels like it's going down that route. I would hate to see it myself. I'd hate to see that happen myself. But there's a possibility that it could go cold any day now. So let me show you guys a little bit of this. Again, this is from the video that we watched yesterday, but I wanted to show you guys a little bit of just a recap, because remember, we kind of paused, or at least I did. I paused heavily on a piece that I found very strange. And of course, I wanted to share that with you guys, of course, again, so we can kind of relive it, because that's kind of the premise of this whole conversation here. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Hopefully I have it queued up at the right spot. Let me know if you guys can hear or not by pressing the number 1, but I'm just going to make sure I'm in the right spot. Okay.
Seems like they're trying to suppress the story. We want to put rewards out there, like, don't do that. Yeah, I get it. Your town doesn't want to have reward posters posted all over when you come and you do your rush. You're not going to get a lot of students if they see those things. But this community is not going to heal until this guy's pulled off the streets. It ain't going to happen. Think it through. It's not going to happen. He has to be off the streets. We all are working for the same thing.
When was the last time y'all heard from the police?
Thursday, we looked at our phone records. We want to be accurate. We don't want to sell anyone out.
About 3 o'clock on Thursday.
And
did y'all get an update from the police about the investigation?
There was nothing. We have no updates for you.
There was no update. They needed me to sign a waiver form so that they could investigate something.
Some mail.
That was mail related.
There it is.
So we'll work.
Okay. Now, that is mail related. I've asked this a million times before. I've even been doing my deep dive into that to find out what the F is going on. Okay. Renee, I don't know about the Aaron Dean trial, but I'll make sure I take a look into that. Okay. Thank you so much for the suggestion. But that's one of the main burning questions that I have right now. What is this letter thing? What could this letter thing be? You feel me? We're going to be looking at another clip. I'm just recapping this just really quick. But there was a video from, if I'm correct, Good Morning America. I have a clip up and ready to show you guys in just a minute that we're going to be reliving about these rumors spreading about Kaylee having some sort of stalker, some sort of person obsessed with her. So we are going to be looking at that as well. But like I said, there's so many questions. What is this letter stuff? What is this mail? They had to sign some papers. They had to sign some papers to let 5-0 look at letters, at mail. What is that mail? What is that letter?
There was no update. They needed me to sign a waiver form so that they could investigate something.
Some mail.
That was mail related.
Mail related. Again, could there be in this situation? What am I doing? Sorry about that. Could there be in this situation, Mrs. Steelers, of course. I'm more than happy to show this again. Where's Mr. Steelers? I'm used to seeing Mrs. and Mr. Steelers. What's up? Anyway, I miss him. Anyway, they said something about could this mail be like very Could there be threats? Could there be mail that Kaylee or anybody else in that house received that was sent to them in a threatening manner, or maybe the contents within the mail was written out in a threatening manner? You see what I'm saying? Inquiring minds would like to know that as well. I'd really, really like to know all about that, okay? I am going to play a little bit more of this, not this whole thing. I'm going to jump up because if you want to see the full thing, go check out the show I did late last night. We looked at this. We went into this. We asked questions. We talked about this. But again, I wanted to recap a little bit of this because it has to do with the rest of what I'm showing you guys and all that, okay? But let me jump up just a little bit more.
We asked specifically. It was not targeted. It was not targeted. So later, we asked specifically. And they said, we'll try to get that information to you. And they got back to us a day or so later, and they said, we're sorry, we can't give you that information. But then a day later, we saw in the news that it was not targeted.
Now, that's what's so frustrating. I can only imagine what this family's dealing with, where it's like, yes and no, no and yes, and oh, it's this. And then, things are getting leaked out to the media, and the media is putting out certain information that they don't even know first, so on and so forth. But again, they're saying it wasn't targeted, yet that's one of the first things that they were saying, in which we saw in a episode or in a conversation with Brian Enton from News Nation. He was talking with the family, and the family, of course, the father stepped up. Steve was like, yo, with this whole thing, they're saying that just to get people to get back out in the streets, go back to school, so on and so forth. He's like, I feel like it was targeted. He still feels like it was targeted because of the information he knows. They even said, which you're going to hear in just a second, that one person had significantly more damage, as he said, than the other. That Kaylee had significantly more damage than Madison. That says a lot. But let's continue.
Or they think the whole house was targeted. But
I'll cut to the chase.
Yeah.
Their means of death don't match.
Maddie's
They don't.
and Kaylee's cause of death, it does not match based on the autopsy report.
They don't match.
Would indicate that one of them.
He doesn't have to
may
go
have
up
been
the
target.
steps. Let's stop playing games, guys.
I'm gonna repeat this again. Let me play that again. And like I said, you go watch the full thing. I'm just scratching the surface on this thing, okay? And be sure to hit that like button, y'all. It'd be really appreciated. Hit that like button. Hit it. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button too, okay? Let's get it.
it was not targeted. Or they think the whole house was targeted. But
I'll cut to the chase.
Yeah.
Their means of death don't match.
Maddie's
They don't.
and Kaylee's cause of death, it does not match based on the autopsy report.
They don't match.
Would indicate that one of them.
He doesn't have to
may
go
have
up the
been target.
steps. Let's stop playing games, guys. I need somebody to step up and be an alpha. Be somebody to be a leader. Don't make me do it.
Okay. So you hear that right there, right? They said, I'm going to play one more time. I know. Some of y'all are like, man, a third time? But let's just play it one more time so it can sink and soak in all the way down to the plums. Okay? One last time.
or so later, and they said, we're sorry, we can't give you that information. But then a day later, we saw in the news that it was not targeted. Or they think the whole house was targeted. But
I'll cut to the chase.
Yeah.
Their means of death don't match.
I'm going to do this piece by piece. So their means of demise, their means of passing does not match. Think about it for a second. Let's continue.
Maddie's
They don't.
and Kaylee's cause of death, it does not match based on the autopsy report.
They don't match.
Would indicate that one of them.
He doesn't have to
may
go
have
up the
been target.
steps. Let's stop playing games, guys. I need somebody to step up and be an alpha.
Okay. He didn't have to go up the steps. Now, we talked about this in great detail last night, getting a little bit more detailed because I got a little confused. I thought Kaylee and Madison were on the second floor and Ava and Ethan were on the third floor. I had it all flip-flopped. Kaylee and Madison were on the third floor. Ethan, Ava, second floor. Now, if everything went according to what they're speculating here, this person, this monster, went into the second floor, did what they did, then went up the steps, as he said, went up the steps and took the lives of those two, the two children. Okay? Xana, sorry. I meant Xana. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. I meant Xana. Sorry about that. My mistake. So, you have Xana and Ethan. Sorry. Xana and Ethan, second floor. Kaylee, Madison, third floor. All right? Then, they go into the second floor, and they do the unthinkable, right? To the two on the second floor, Xana and Ethan. Then they go up to the third floor, and he's saying they didn't have to go up the stairs. They didn't have to do any of that. They really didn't have to go up there at all. Now, the question remains, though. And we talked about this last night, and I'm just going to say it again. Okay? Did this monster go into the wrong room, realize that his target was not in that room, and went up the stairs to the third floor? Or went to the second floor, target was on the second floor, did this unthinkable crime, but felt like doing more, went up to the third floor and did the unthinkable. Inquiring minds would like to know. Inquiring minds would like to know. Now, Mona just said Kaylee was brutally attacked, and her friend who was half asleep and drunk woke up due to the noise, and the monster attacked her too, so he could finish Kaylee and leave no witnesses. But then again, if that's the case, that would imply that either maybe he went up to the third floor, this monster went up to the third floor, did this unthinkable thing on the third floor, and maybe Xana and Ethan were awoken by the noise. I don't know. It just, something about it just doesn't make sense, because there's four people that were 4 lives were taken here, not just 2. So if he said no witnesses, if this monster said no witnesses, then he could have just gone up to the second floor, to the third floor, did what he did to Kaylee and, Madison, and then just disappear off into the night. But yet still 2 other people lost their lives, and they lost their lives while they were still asleep. Hence the reason why I say this, like, I hear what you're saying here, but there's something that's not right unless Xana, Ethan were asleep. This monster went into the wrong room, did what they did in a blind rage, not realizing what they were doing or that they were attacking the wrong people until after said rage, then went upstairs and realized they were in the wrong room. I mean, it's so strange. But then I've heard other stories. We talked about this last night again. A lot of people have speculation that maybe this monster was hiding in the home before they even got home from their night of drinking, their night of kicking it, that kind of thing. That maybe that this monster was hiding out and then waited for them all to calm down, all to go to sleep, and then this attack happened. But still, it just doesn't make sense. Unless, here's another idea. Here's another like I said, this is just speculation land. All right. This is just speculation land. But what if, and only what if, they had a target? And it was, let's just say it was Kaylee. What are the chances of this person actually saying, hey, I'm going to throw everybody off. So I'm not going to just attack Kaylee. I'm going to go after 3 other people that are there to throw them off my track. Now, that could be it. I'm just saying. It's just a theory. Again, I could be completely wrong. But then again, a lot of people came and went from that house as well. It was a party house. It was notoriously known, infamously known as a party house for generations. All right? That particular home. So yeah, that is true. A lot of people go in and out of that house. And a lot of people knew the code to the front door, allegedly. But again, I have to ask, could this monster say, hey, well, if I'm going to do this and do that, these 2, why not I just throw them completely off by causing even more damage? And I know that makes no sense. It might, to some of you, it might make no sense. But then we're all, even law enforcement could be scratching their heads going, who is the focus and why did this happen? Who was the target? Could it be Kaylee? Could it be Madison? Could it be Xana? Could it be Ethan even? By him or this monster doing this unthinkable crime, it spreads it out. And it puts speculations on so many different levels. Because if this person walked in and did the unthinkable to just Kaylee, easily we can sit here and go, oh, this is definitely a targeted attack, and maybe could trace that back to a particular person, right? To that monster. But if you spread it out, maybe it makes it more confusing. Again, I don't know. I'm just sitting here saying, I mean, obviously what I'm saying is not the end all and be all. And I'm not sitting here saying that what I'm saying is fact. But it is a theory that I don't know. I have not seen anybody say yet with this. I mean, from what I've seen, I've seen a lot of people covering this case. I'm seeing a lot of people covering this story and all that. And it's understandably. But I have yet to see anybody say, well, what if this person spread it out to make the confusion, to make it more confusing, so that you couldn't really know who the focus is? Maybe. Maybe not. And yes, Pink Society, yeah, everyone's theories are very, very interesting. Mine, I'm sure, are just right in there. Just as wild and just as crazy. But maybe that's the case. Maybe it's not, right? But let me play the rest of this. And I do agree with the pop, with the dad. I do agree with Kaylee's dad. I mean, let's be real here. All right? There's got to be somebody who's got to run point here and push and get out here and get the story out here and fight for these kids. Not just him. Not just this family. Law enforcement as well. But anyway, let's take a look. And wait. Oh, shoot. Tunes the Driving Cat, a perfect case for an episode of Unsolved Mysteries. Yeah, the 1980s version. Absolutely. There's just so many questions here. All right. And Sarah Adams even said, yeah, collateral damage. That could literally be it too. Like I said, I know what I'm saying sounds crazy, but maybe somebody getting drunk within their rage, maybe saying, or like I said, Is this completely a premeditated thing? Was this just something that happened on a whim? I mean, there's still a lot of questions here that have not been answered yet. But let's continue. I'm going to play a little bit more of this piece because, like I said, he said they didn't have to go up he didn't have to go up the steps. To me, either he's saying, meaning he went up the steps because his target was upstairs, or meaning Ethan and Xana were the target. He didn't have to go up the steps, but he went up there anyway. But when you hear that there's more significant damage to her body, that tells me that sings a different tune to me. But let's continue.
Be somebody to be a leader. Don't make me do it. I don't want to do it. He doesn't have to go up the steps. Their points of damage don't match. I'm just going to say it. It wasn't leaked to me. I earned that. I paid for that funeral. I paid for that. It's my right. You ain't taking that from me.
Calm down.
If you don't want to say nothing, that's your bet. But don't say I'm leaking anything. I paid that bill.
Okay. So when he says, I paid that bill, I paid for that funeral, I did that, so on and so forth, I'm wondering who he is addressing. That's the question I have. I'm going to roll that a little bit. I'm going to roll that back just a tiny bit because he's saying a lot in in just a few seconds. But I have to ask, what is he saying here? So we got to break that down just a little bit. Just a little bit. Come on. Shoot. Okay.
Don't make me do it. I don't want to do it. He doesn't have to go up the steps. Their points of damage don't match. I'm just going to say it.
Okay. So he's like, don't make me do it. I don't want to do it. So he has some information. Like I said last night, he obviously has some information that he wants to expose. He has some information that he wants to expose, like right now. Okay? He doesn't give two damns. But at the same time, he'd be more than happy to give out that information, but he can't. But I'm wondering why and what this statement is made to, or what this statement is made for, right?
It wasn't leaked to me. I earned that. I paid for that funeral. I paid for that. It's my right. You ain't taking that from me.
Calm down.
If you don't want to say nothing, that's your bet. But don't say I'm leaking anything. I paid that bill.
Okay. So then he says, man, I'm going to roll that back. I don't want to get him the wording wrong. Hold on.
Calm down.
If you don't want to say nothing, that's your bet. But don't say I'm leaking anything. I paid that bill.
If you don't want to say nothing, that's on you, basically. But, wow. Okay. But then I'm like, who is that for? Is that to the other families? Is that to the other families or no? Because that's definitely not is that for the 5-0? I just don't, hold on.
Calm down.
If you don't want to say nothing, that's your bet. But don't say I'm leaking anything. I paid that bill.
Like I said, what's he saying there? Is he talking to the cops? Because to me, it almost seems like he's talking to families that are involved and the cops. And let's just say this really quick, guys. Come on, let's talk about this. All right, you have 5-0 out here trying to snuff this, trying to, submerge and calm the nerves of everybody out here because tensions be high, right? Tensions are hella high right now. You got other family that really isn't out like him, okay, or like this family that we've seen so far. You never know. Obviously, let's be real. Each family deals with this kind of situation, even something so unthinkable like this. Everyone processes things differently. So I'm not trying to throw any shade towards any of the victims' families at all. We all we all grieve in a different way. Obviously, we see Steve GonCalves passionate. He wants to get down to the bottom of this and get justice for his daughter. And of course, that's what everybody wants. But he's dealing with it in his own way, right? He's processing all of this in his own way, and it seems like the mother is doing that as well. Just a little bit differently than the rest of the families that we've seen so far, right? So it does make me wonder, what is this statement for? Or who, this statement is for. Now, I'll let you guys sound off in the family chat. I feel like it's both. It could be to the cops, to law enforcement, and to families. Because clearly, they're the most vocal right now. The other families have been very quiet. Again, understandably. They're grieving. And they're grieving in their own way. But you can see the father's like, yo, I'm tired of I don't want to be the alpha. I don't want to have to do this stuff. I don't want to have to expose this ish. I just want justice for my daughter, just like everybody else. But quit sitting on your hands and doing nothing. So I will say this. I don't care. Clearly, he's hurting a lot. But at the same time, man, I don't blame his anger. I don't. But he clearly knows some stuff that he wants to put out here. Real quick, Lateef, thank you so much for the 2. Happy birthday, Nur. Happy birthday to Nur, one of my mods. Thank you so much for holding it down for so long. She's one of my day ones. I got many day ones, but at the same time, she has been an amazing person, an amazing mod on this show, an amazing energy and vibe here in the show. So I really do appreciate her for being on this planet, and happiest of birthdays to you. Okay. Happy birthday. I see another, looks like there's another birthday, I think. It's all BS. Thank you so much for the 40. Happy birthday, 3 years old Penelope. Happy birthday, Penelope. Okay. Happy birthday, Penelope. Oh, it's her daughter, not her birthday. Okay. Well, Penelope, happy birthday. Okay. And actually, no, that's still happy birthday to you too, Nur. You did bring this beautiful daughter into the world, so happiest of birthdays to you, okay, sweetheart? Happy birthday, all right? I'm sure you remember that day. And it's an amazing and beautiful thing. So, happiest of birthdays to both of you guys, all right? Because she wouldn't have a birthday if you didn't give her birth, right? So there it is, okay? And yes, Mrs. and Mr. Steelers, birthing is hard. All right. I don't know if that's actually. I don't know because I'm a man. But you know what I'm saying. Okay. Happiest of birthdays to both of you. All right. But anyway, I digress. Same thing. Or back to what we're talking about here. Okay. Question still remains. Who is this statement for? Okay. And I'm going to leave that question up to you guys. I think it's kind of both. It could be both. I don't know. Again, the questions that I have revolving around this whole case is absolutely, I'm all over the place with this because we don't know anything. Okay. We don't know anything so far. But hopefully we will find out more. I don't know. It's frustrating because the cops have not said anything. They haven't said anything at all. Hold on. Where's my mouse? It disappears on me all the time. It's so frustrating. Now, like I said, I got a lot of questiones. Hold on. Sorry, guys. I got a lot of questiones, and we got some videos to look at here very soon or very shortly. Now, I know that there has been a lot of speculation over other people involved in, that were friends or, that were around the area, etc. And we're going to look at that here very shortly. But this piece here I found very interesting. Okay. So family of Idaho student Kaylee GonCalves reveal her injuries were significantly more brutal than other victims. as they turn to private investigators to solve gruesome crime that is stumping inexperienced cops. Now, I'm not going to read this whole article. We saw this in the interview. Clearly, we saw this in the interview. We talked about this last night, basically how the GonCalves family is going to go and bring in private investigators to dive into this whole thing. Okay? Dive into this whole thing. So we already know Stephen GonCalves, the father of 21-year-old Kaylee GonCalves, said it was obvious that either his daughter or Madison Mogen, 21, was targeted in the attack. Okay? Now they're saying he said because Kaylee and Madison were unalived while sleeping on the 3rd floor and the monster entered on the 2nd. One of them must have been targeted. Now, that's still the ongoing question, and I feel like that's something that people are having fly around here like crazy, okay? Which is interesting. I think that there's the main question that's flying around here right now is it Kaylee that was targeted or was it Madison? Okay. Now, the comments come days after police retracted a statement made by detectives who said they were certain that 1 or 2 residents were targeted. Police clarified that they were unsure whether the house itself was targeted or if any of the victims were targeted. See, now that's the thing. They keep bouncing back and forth. Saying, "Oh, no, it wasn't targeted. Oh, it was targeted. Oh, it wasn't a crime of passion. Oh, it wasn't it wasn't such a bad scene." So on and so forth. They can't make up their minds, and it's like, yo, make up your mind, make a decision on what's really going on here. But we have seen it, okay. And I'm not sitting here trying to knock police, okay. Not, all right. I'm not going to sit here and go after. I'm not here going after police. The one thing that I found very interesting was how much they were bouncing back and forth. They couldn't give us a straight answer on a lot of things, and they keep saying, "Oh, there's certain information we can't tell you right now," but then we're starting to find out that they don't really have anything. And then we also saw in one of the interviews how with the GonCalves family, with Brian Enton on News Nation, they expressed how they felt that some of these people were let go so early, so quickly. Some of these suspects they walked in, they were questioned, they apparently had a good enough alibi, and they kick rocks. It's very strange. It's very, very strange. Now, I do want to pull this up. We do have some video I want to show you guys here in a second, but there's something that there is something I'm curious about. And and I don't want to go too deep down this crazy like rabbit hole and all that, but I've been seeing a lot of chat forums and stuff like that talking about this particular person and that's involved in this. And one thing that I don't want to do is bring out the mob, okay? Trying to go after this particular individual, but I do have questions about this. And one of them is Jack Showalter. Jack Showalter, I just have questions. A lot of people have questions about this particular individual. And so I figured we should look into this just a tiny bit. Because there's now stories about this particular individual now in Africa. I don't get it. Okay? I don't get it. But I do think, like Sherry Ward said, yep, cleared too soon. I think there's a lot of people that are saying, oh, yeah, you know, there's just too many. A lot of people that were surrounded in that situation, everybody, the people that were inside that house when it all went down, the boyfriends, the ex-boyfriends, whatever, the people that were outside the taco truck, etc. I'm just saying everybody. I'm not sitting here saying that one in particular. All of them, I feel, should be questioned like a mug. But that's just my personal opinion. Okay. Now, I don't. Lily Robinson, is it true Jack S is in Africa with his parents? That's what the rumor mill is saying right now. But let me show you guys this article. This is just a small little article, but it's just kind of explaining who this person is. Okay, so who is Jack Showalter? Everything about Jack Showalter in the Idaho 4. Okay. Who is Jack Showalter? As per True Crime Society, people theorize that the hooded man was Jack Showalter, and this article will explain that Jack is the person. Now, this is just a speculation thing, all right? I'm not sitting here saying that this is facts, but there's a lot of Jacks in this situation, okay? There's a lot of, I don't know why there's so many damn Jacks, but there's a lot of Jacks in this story. But here it is. The 4 students at the University of Idaho were unalived on Sunday. We already know about the information, but to know who is Jack Showalter, because according to the theories, Showalter was kicked out of his fraternity recently. Now, this is something that was updated just around Thanksgiving time, okay? So let's see who is Jack Showalter in detail. Who is Jack Showalter? People theorize that the hooded man was Jack Showalter. According to the theories, I guess from the True Crime Society, Showalter was kicked out of fraternity and lately, and might include the same knife used to unalive the said students, as people are still hunting for the slaying weapon. After referring to many websites, there have been no arrests so far. Of course, we already know. According to investigators, this included a man observable in the video footage and the 2 roommates who survived the carnage. However, authorities have not entirely dismissed the possibility of more than one unaliver. They are now trying to find out if anyone bought a fixed blade recently. So, let's see. One of the 4 students at the University of Idaho were, of course, 2 were last seen alive ordering food from a late night food truck at around 1:41 a.m. A video of the incident shows a man in a hoodie observing Kaylee GonCalves and Madison Mogen as they both placed their orders and talked to some more people that night. At 11 p.m., it was... Wow, this is crazy. Okay, so this is when Mogen and GonCalves entered the corner club bar and stayed until 1:30. After waiting for about 10 minutes, they went to Grub Truckers at around 1:40 in the morning and ordered some food. They can be seen conversing with others, waiting by the truck while they wait. So apparently whoever's in this is really hell bent on thinking that Jack is the bad guy. Okay, that Jack is the monster. Okay, but we're gonna continue here. In the early morning of November 13th, 2022, of course, we already know the unthinkable scene occurred, or unthinkable incident occurred in Moscow, Idaho. 4 students. Of course, we already know that. Nevertheless, a reversal of police has marked the incident. The statements about whether the community may be at risk and lack of apparent progress in solving the crime. We already know about that. We haven't heard anything, really, no new updates as of yet, and we are now at we're on the 5th of December now, okay? But that's 3 weeks, guys. And I get it. This is a crazy, unthinkable, mind-blowing crime. So they got a lot of questions here, okay? However, after the gruesome unalivings, many students left the campus early. Students who stayed back have resorted to additional measures and are always stepping into a group. A cafe nearby reportedly notified its customers that it would close then early and that employees could get home before dark, as reported by New York Times. In the post on this particular Reddit surrounding Jack S., it was explained all the incidents related to Jack S. Okay. So, people are theorizing that Jack S., Jack Showalter, is the hooded guy in the video. Okay? That's what they're saying. Okay? And of course, he has been literally he's been okayed. All right? He's been, what's the word? He's been cleared. He's already been cleared. Now I'm hearing through the grapevine, and I don't know if it's true or not. Okay? I don't know if that part is entirely true or not, but I'm hearing stories that he is in Africa now. I don't know why I can't say that word, like Africa. But yes, that he is in Africa right now. That he took off with his parents because allegedly he has a adoptive brother that's from Africa, and that they went to Africa with his adopted brother. But I don't know if that's entirely true. Okay? This is just things, these are just stories and speculations. That's what I'm hearing in all these in these columns, etc. But again, they're saying that this is somebody who has been cleared, this Jack Showalter. Okay? So let's take a look at this. It's another article. Who is Jack Showalter? Hooded man watching 2 of the victims was recently booted out of fraternity. Okay? And this is according to Meow, this news site here as well. Okay? And it says here in small print, in the video, let me make this a little bit bigger for you guys. In the video, Kaylee GonCalves and Madison Mogen were seen ordering food from a food truck while Jack Showalter was staring at them. And you can see right here, let me kill that. But you can see right here, boom, just a little bit of a close-up, the guy in the white hoodie. And I know that we've already talked about this, the theories of the guy in the white hoodie and all that. And again, from what we've heard, he was just making sure that they were okay. I don't know if they were really rocking with him or not. They didn't really seem to be talking to him in the video, in this live stream video that we all watched a few weeks back. The other thing, too, that I saw another video where they're saying that family believes that when Kaylee pulls up her phone, like she's taking a photo, right? Like she's taking a photo, right? And when she does that, they say that she wasn't taking a photo of Madison. She was actually trying to take a photo of Jack. But I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what is true. This is all speculations. We have also heard many different things. Actually, let me pull that up here too, because I know that there is some more stuff here that we need to look at as well. So give me 2 seconds. 1 second, guys. There is something that just popped in my head before I forget. Where the heck is it? Hold on, guys. Where is it? Maybe it's not. Maybe have the wrong person. Hold on. There it is. Splat out. Let me show you guys this. And this is also about Jack. Okay? Allegedly. Jack S. Okay? Now, as you can see here on Twitter, follow me on Twitter, Pascal Show, one word. It'd be greatly appreciated. And for those of y'all who are coming in, I see a bunch of y'all, over almost 1,000 souls watching the show. I really do appreciate it. Please be sure to hit that like button down below. Send those likes all the way up. Let's get it past 500 likes. Like I said, a like doesn't cost a thing. And please do not forget to hit that subscribe button, okay? Be much appreciated. Thank you so very much. Anyway, here's this. And this is, of course, former FBI agent Jennifer Coffin-Daffer. She was just on the show Friday talking about the case of Shanquella Robinson, which we had a really great conversation. So please go and check that out, all right? And please follow her on her Twitter as well. But this is her tweet that she put out. She said, thoughts. Jack S. being convicted in SM, okay? Not involved per law enforcement. So they're not, law enforcement has let him go, okay? Law enforcement has let him out. All right. Did he flee or go on planned fam vacay? Is there credible info? He was kicked out of frat CC. And I think and he was kicked out of Corner Club, allegedly. Okay. Allegedly he was kicked out of Corner Club, which the bar. The Corner Club bar, all right? Which we're going to look at this photo and all that stuff here too. Hunting is a good point, but many hunt, which is very true. Now, I understand everybody wants to jump into speculation land and sit here and go, oh, well, he goes and hunts, so therefore he's the one who did it. Hold on, y'all. Time out. Tranquilo doesn't mean a damn thing. Plenty of dudes out here that go hunting. Plenty, okay? Plenty of people that go out here and hunt, okay? Now, this is, again, Jennifer Coffin-Daffer. Shout out to Jennifer, okay? But let's take a look at this. Now, this is just the photo. Let me blow this up for you guys so you guys can see that a little bit more, because I know it's really small, but here it is, okay? Again, Jack S. being convicted in SM, like Joe V. and Jeremy were. Not involved, according to law enforcement. Okay, did he flee or go on planned fam vacay? Because apparently he is not in America. He's not in America. He's not in America, y'all, right now. Allegedly, he's in Africa. That's from what we're hearing in the rumor mill, okay, if we're looking at Jack S. right now. But let's take a look at this photo, all right? Somebody put this up on their Instagram or something and said, this is Hoodie Guy, another Jack. So confusing. Then says, under here, fled the area, kicked out of fraternity for anger issues, kicked out of Corner Club bar for being creepy with girls. That's very important too. Has K-bar or Kabar knives. I've never heard of that before. I'm not a knife guy. Okay. And no stranger to gore per hunting pics. One of the last people to see M and K alive. Now, we all seen the video. Okay. And I'm trying to understand what is SM2. Okay. I don't know what SM is as well. Okay. Okay. I don't know. But it's interesting that this whole situation went down around the same time. Like, you got to remember, think about it. This whole thing went down, and I'm not trying to, like I said, don't go after him. All I'm saying is it is interesting. He was at that space. He was outside the food truck. He was lurking around. It wasn't like he was just chilling in the cut and hanging out with them and hanging all over them and having a great time. He was off to the side. He was not close to them in those videos. All right, at the truck, at the food truck. He was very, 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 very strange. What did I just click on? That just disappeared on me. Where did it go? Pippi Longstocking 2020. If he was at the corner pub that night, how did he get home hours away and be asleep as to not answer his phone at 2:24 to 2:56? Wasn't that him at the grub truck that night until 2:45-ish? Yeah. I mean, that's literally what's going on. Okay? That's the thing. Yeah, and that's one thing that I'm wondering what SM is as well. You guys are coming up with some hilarious stuff, though. And it could be, actual misconduct, if you get what I'm saying. It could be. It could very well be. But like I said, we're just going down this rabbit hole really quick to just look at these possibilities. And again, we're looking at it and we're seeing that, yeah, the math ain't mathing with that, though, too. If he was going home and he lived hours away and he was asleep. Because if I'm correct, didn't they say one of the okay. There were a couple other Jacks. Yes, there were other Jacks. So I might be getting these Jacks confused. But still, Jackass, just looking at his background, looking at this situation, it makes you wonder, what were these anger issues? What happened during that would cause him to get kicked out of a fraternity? Because I got a lot of questions about that too, right? He also got kicked out of that same bar because he was allegedly being creepy with girls. All right. That's very interesting. Hold on. I got a super chat I need to grab really quick. Thank you, Viola, for the 270 crones, I think is the thing. Or is the currency. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. She said, I appreciate you so much. When you said I'm taking a step back from Shanquella because right now we're waiting for more info, it is respectful. I'm personally very sick of people who just keep going on and becomes conspiracy. Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I said, it's a situation. That situation and all these other stories, when they go off the rails like that, I just don't like that. I don't. And I'd rather have credible information than have something that just blows up in your face and you're just putting out stuff just so you can get a click. I think that's absolute BS. All right. That's just complete BS in my personal opinion. But one more. Cookie Cat, thank you so much for the £2. Says on that post, convicted in SM, not of SM. Yes. So convicted in SM. So what is that? That is something I'm kind of curious about as well. Let's look at this other piece here, though, and maybe you'll say something more. So this is apparently somebody replying to a post. We don't believe the following individuals are involved in this crime. This is Moscow Police Department Captain Roger Lanier. That's what he told reporters on Sunday. The two remaining roommates, a male seen at the grub truck food vendor downtown, specifically wearing a white hoodie. Now, that allegedly was Jack S. Because, again, there's a lot of Jacks in this situation. Jack S. Now, convicting him SM. Interesting. It does make me wonder what she meant by SM. I'm looking through the comments really quick just to see if she clarifies what SM is. Like, it could be misconduct of the S kind, if you get what I'm saying. But that is very, 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 very strange. If that's the case. Sorry, just taking a quick look at a few things to make sure that we're not completely out of touch here and completely wrong. But yes, convicted in SM. I look at it as misconduct, if you get what I'm saying. But I could be extremely wrong, which is very, very frustrating. But I got a few more things I want to show you guys, of course. Now, one of the things here, remember what we talked about here earlier, okay? And I appreciate all y'all's super chats and all that. Nicole, thank you so much for the 15, just that time. Thanks per always. Thank you so much, Nicole. I really do appreciate the 15, and thank you so much for your support, okay? But I do think it could be... Oh, okay. Social media. Okay. So it's social media. Okay. Then he's being convicted in social media. Okay. That could very well be it. There you go. Okay. Yes. Fat baby Toodles. Thank you so much. I appreciate the clarity, all y'all. Okay. But we got a little bit more we got to look at here, okay? Now, I know that in the very beginning when we talked about letters, all right, the father or the parents both said we had to sign some release forms so that police can look at mail, right? So there's a question of, about the idea of maybe there's a stalker, maybe there's not, all right? So we got to look at this. Come on. We got to look at this video.
To those horrifying.
We got to look at this video here as well, because I think that this kind of explains a little bit more too. So let's take a look at this video.
To those horrifying campus murders at the University of Idaho. Police are confirming for the first time that they're looking into reports that one of the 4 victims may have had a stalker. Kana Whitworth has the latest. Good morning, Kana.
Yeah, Michael, good morning. Authorities say they have looked extensively into reports of this possible danger. And as of this morning, they have not been able to identify or verify a stalker. And as this investigation continues, they are pleading with the public for information.
In a desperate search for answers, police in Idaho say they've received hundreds of pieces of information regarding one of the murder victims, Kaylee GonCalves, potentially having a stalker.
You hope to provide clarity in the near future in regards to Kaylee potentially having a stalker?
Yeah, that whole situation, it's a whole nother dynamic of this investigation.
Now, what's interesting with this, and of course I have to cut in and out of this because these are the breaks, all right? But what's interesting is that, wouldn't that be some information that would just be out right off the bat? Okay? Wouldn't that be the information that's right off the bat? Again, wouldn't they have this out here to let everybody know? Okay, so then we can understand a little bit more. Like, okay, this was fully 110% a targeted attack. If this was stalker, if this was stalker-esque, right? That somebody just, their obsession went into a deadly realm, right? I just feel like this would be information that they would put out immediately, in my personal opinion.
And so that's something, obviously, that we're looking at.
But this morning, authorities say they have not been able to verify or identify one. This comes as police receive other tips from the community, like surveillance video, which could help investigators piece together a timeline leading to the gruesome stabbing deaths of GonCalves, Madison Mogen, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin at this off-campus home.
But I can show you what you're missing.
Another potential lead for detectives, videos like these of the students posted to Kaylee's TikTok. They could help in the investigation.
And I wake up and
Unfortunately, I got to go around this crap.
One of the last videos posted shows Kaylee and Maddie, lifelong best friends.
In a case like this, though, where the victims and the survivors were all so active on social media, is that helpful to the investigation to learn about them and their friends and their lives?
Well, I think it's both helpful, and it also just enlarges the investigation overall. It just has more people for us to try and contact and try and get information on the evening in question, and just be able to do a full analysis and review of the case.
The restaurant where Xana and Maddie worked, the Mad Greek, has reopened. Their coworkers left devastated and afraid.
It's hard for them to want to come back to work because they don't necessarily feel safe here. They don't know who it was that did this.
On campus, state police increasing visibility for the foreseeable future, and the university now saying it will offer remote learning for the rest of the semester, as some students worry about returning after fall break.
We're over a week away from these murders. At this point, there's really more questions than answers. What do you have to say to this community that does seem to be on edge right now?
So I've been out in the community and I've talked with people. As we're getting dinner, as we're getting coffee, we've talked to people, and there's fear in this community. But as well, there's trust in the police department that they know that this work is being done. The community has patience. Other people don't.
Well, that's certainly true. And police say that, while people have left town, those that are connected to this case remain very cooperative. And Michael, they also want to assure everybody that this investigation will continue at a rigorous pace throughout this Thanksgiving holiday.
Yeah,
Again, we still don't know. I mean, as far as we know, this is a video that was a clip, a news clip that happened weeks ago. They still don't know if there is a person or was a person that was actually going after Kaylee. I mean, of course, they're looking into it, but they haven't said, hey, this is absolutely true. Okay? But I find that to be something that's incredibly weird, in my personal opinion. All right? I find that to be incredibly, incredibly weird. But there is another video I wanted to share with y'all. Another video, and this is kind of a longer one. I'm not going to play this whole thing. I just kind of wanted to play a little bit of the beginning of this. This is News Nation, Brian Enton's special, and it goes into more depth of giving us more of a timeline of things that happened in the very beginning. And of course, there's some interviews and whatnot. So we're going to be going through just a little bit of this, not the whole thing again. I repeat, not the whole thing, but I wanted to give you guys just some of this so that you guys can take a look and just come up with your own, your own conclusions about what is going on here, what has happened here, because there's just so many questions here. And again, Jack S., like Eagles Prey just said, yeah, Jack S. was the white hoodie. But then he had an excuse of some sort where he said, I just made sure that they got into their Uber okay and all that crap. Okay? We don't know. But it's strange because you see that there's not really any interaction with Jack S. in that video. She pulls up her phone. She is giggling. She's acting like she's taking a photo of Madison. Of Madison. But then it seems as if she's taking a photo of him. Allegedly. Okay? It's very weird. And he's like, I just had to make sure they got into their car. Why are you standing off to the side all weird like? Why don't you just chill all up in the cut with those ladies? And why weren't they all up with you, hanging out with you and being real with you? Like I said, many, many questions that I have that keep springing up. It's weird. It's weird. Okay? That's very weird, y'all. But, I mean, it could be anything, y'all. It could be anything. All right? You know, I see some people sitting there saying, no, masochism, etc. We don't know. We don't know. But now, allegedly, this Jack S. is allegedly no longer on American soil. Now he is in Africa? I don't know. Like a Toto song? Bless the rains down in Africa. Like he gone in Africa? It's just weird to me. It's very, very weird. And Tony B, I agree. Too many people were cleared too soon, in my honest opinion. I think Kaylee was taking a photo of Hoodie Guy to show someone, maybe her ex. Boom. Exactly. Or just being like, when she got home, she could have gone to the friends saying, see, there was a weird, see, that guy Jack, the creepazoid Jack was, you know, just standing around, looming in the background, all weird. It was so weird. It could have been that too. Because you can see they run up, they start talking to other people. Okay? They're talking to people. They're hugging people. They're trying to be really, they're talking, you know, getting very, what's the word? Striking up conversations with other people. Clearly something's weird. Something was weird that was going off. Okay? But I don't know. Let's take a look at this.
Tonight, it only takes one moment, 1 minute, one night for lives to be turned upside down.
We lost 4 beautiful souls.
The hardest part, we cannot change the outcome.
For a quiet college campus to become a crime scene.
This could be anybody.
It could be anybody.
What do you say to the students who are scared?
I tell them I'm scared too.
And for a killer to seemingly vanish in the middle of the night.
There is a threat out there still.
It's all hands on deck for investigators, racing to retrace steps, comb through evidence, and stop this case from going cold.
They could break open any time.
Because it only takes one clue, one slip up, one tip.
Somebody somewhere has information about this case.
To end the nightmare.
We owe this to these young kids.
Idaho Murder Mystery, a News Nation special report, starts right now.
Okay, of course I got to cut in and out of this ish, of course, but dang. I mean, it is weird to me though, as well, Ner. Like no one saw nothing. No one saw not a damn thing. Nothing. That's weird to me. I find it hard to believe too. Hence the reason why when the Gonzalez family said, hey man, why aren't you letting us put up rewards? Posts to say, hey, we are willing to give you monies if you have any good information that can get us closer to finding justice for our children. 5-0 is not even letting them do that. Somebody knows something. Somebody saw something. Somebody heard something. There's got to be something else. Not just some BS, you know, not just some BS, like real stuff. Not just somebody coming out here telling, oh, you know, we have security cam footage of the... No, F all that BS. Because you know for a fact that is not real. If 5-0 doesn't have the actual footage of certain things, come on, y'all. Because there's some people out here that are just spreading lies. Just okay. I'm not going to get into that, okay? But like I said, you can't feed me You just can't feed me BS if there's not anything. You can't feed me things if that isn't backed up with something credible or solid. All right? And I know that there's other people that are being that are looking at the neighbor and all that. It's like, yo, chill, y'all. Chill. Just because that person is a little, maybe eccentric or maybe socially awkward and all that does not mean that that person's instantly the bad guy. We need to see facts. We need to see the proof before we jump down people's throats and start ruining people's lives. Okay? But this is wild to me that no one saw nothing. No one saw nothing. Again, it makes me wonder, like, what's up with the roommates then? Did the roommates really just sleep through it all? Which is still a possibility. But like I said, questions I have. Many, 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 many questions that I have here. Okay? And it's wild to me that if Jack really is gone, like that he's in Africa, interesting that he leaves. They go out of town at the time of Thanksgiving. Is a good excuse to leave town so it doesn't look as suspicious. But from my understanding, where is he? Has he come back? Has he returned? Has he put his foot back on American soil? If he actually is in Africa, did he really kick rocks like that? Did he pull a Cabo 6 by fleeing the country? If that's the case, woo! That is sus. Just saying. You can explain. You can sit there. Oh no, it's because it was the wind. You have 4 people that you allegedly knew that perished. You were one of the last people to see them. Caught on cam. Live Twitch. And you kick rocks to Africa? Come on. Like I said, optics here, y'all. Optics. Okay. Witchy Gemini, thank you so much for the $2. Dual rhymes with meltation? I'm confused, but thank you, Witchy, for the 2. Appreciate it. Didn't understand that super chat, but maybe you'll clarify in here in the chat. Then there's another one here real quick before we continue. Loa Strada. Hello, sweetheart. How you doing? Thank you so much for the 5. There's so much quote unquote white privilege in this case. It sort of makes me sick. Think on it, Pascal. Yeah, I mean, you said it, not me. You said it, not me. I hear, yes. I feel like it's a lot of young. It's a lot of youngin' type situation. It's a lot of, they're young. They were asleep. It's fine. Go ahead. They were asleep. No. They didn't hear anything. Or, no, they were asleep. They were in their home asleep during this time. That's their alibi. It's totally fine. Go ahead, kids. Go on, kids. They're innocent. They would never do something like this. I think that's wild to me, for sure. I think it's absolutely wild to me. Okay? There's more to this. And they might be hiding things. Other people could be covering things up. Shoot, we don't even know. Okay, we can go down the rabbit hole of speculation like a mother lover. All right? But that does not give us facts. And hopefully we can get facts here very shortly. Shiro's Nation, thank you so much. Shiro's Nation, thank you so much for the $5. I appreciate it. Law enforcement has been known to put out false information to trick the suspect into thinking they are not onto them. Remember Ramon Souza? Law enforcement said he was unalived. Interesting. Good point. But at the same time, I feel like it would be reckless as hell right now, especially in this time that we live in with the information superhighway, with the social medias, with all these internet sleuths out here, with all the thirsty, fake internet sleuths that are out here as well, that are willing to grab anything and put it out there saying that is scripture. I feel like it could be very dangerous if law enforcement is doing anything of that sort revolving around this particular case. I get the whole thing of them saying, we're playing this one close to the chest. We're not saying anything. We are in deep investigation on this, this, and this, but we can't tell you any more details. I'm sorry. And that's the reason why I feel the reason why they're saying those things is because they do not want this monster, who is clearly watching everything as much as they can, to find out what law enforcement's next move is. So clearly they're not going to sit here and say anything. They're going to go, hey, we're playing that close to the chest. Oh, that's under investigation. We can't go any further on that. Next question, please. I feel like that's the situation that's going on here. So instead of false information, I feel like they're doing we just not saying nothing. We got nothing, guys. We have no suspects. We have no information. Sorry, nothing. When I feel that maybe they have more than they're leading on. But thank you so much, Shiro Nation, for the $5 super chat. Kookie, thank you so much for the £5. Maybe he was trying to plead his case to get back together again, and she just wasn't interested. Then his pride was hurt, so he stormed off at truck, or in truck, I'm assuming. I don't know. Like I said, we don't. Like I said, that's all speculation right now. I don't know. And it could be that. It could not be that. Just seems weird. Jackass is just sitting there, chilling. Okay, where's that super chat? I just lost it. Here it is. That he's just chilling in the cut in the background, not really up there with the girls, trying to socialize and trying to schmooze with them. That's very strange to me. Okay. Jack S. could very well be the guy. He could very well be this guy, but we don't know quite yet. But let's continue. Let's play a little bit more. They go into a little bit more of a timeline, which I think is very helpful for all of us. Brian Enton does do his damn job in this piece. So let's take this as well. And yes, I think we're getting confused with all the Jacks, okay? Jack S is not, if I'm correct, Jack S was not in a relationship at all with any of those girls. He just happens to be he's a creepy, okay? And then there's Jack D. Where is it? Thank you. JP the drummer, exactly. Jack D is Kaylee's ex, the one that they were calling, okay, for like a late night booty call, okay? Real talk. Let's be real. I hate to say it like that, but hey, it is what it is. She was calling him a bunch, okay? And then Jack S is the creepazoid that was hanging out in the perimeter at the food truck. Now, you never know. Maybe during that time when they left the food truck, he was trying to maybe take a pass at one of the girls. You never know. And then one of the girls said, "No, you creeper," and then he got mad. That could be it too, but that's speculation land. As far as Jack D did not show up, clearly, because if he did show up, he would not be alive today too. Okay? So, then this is the other thing. Pink Society, thank you so much. And we're going to continue after this comment. Pascal, can I send you the video on why law enforcement isn't offering a reward? I get undertones they're getting closer to the suspect. And if that's the case, yeah, please, Pink Society. Email it to me. You can send it to me. Mention me in a tweet, and then I can pull it up and make sure I got it up and uploaded so we can watch it as a family for sure. Please send it my way. Send it to me via Twitter. Okay? Pascal Show, one word. Okay? Let's get into this, okay? Again, there are different Jacks, and that's why I think a lot of us are getting confused. Shoot, I was getting confused in the very beginning, okay? There's Jack D, which is Kaylee's ex, and then there's Jack S, who is in the corner or who's off to the side wearing the white hoodie, being the weird creepazoid, okay? So Jack S, creepazoid, Jack D, ex-boyfriend. Now, what they're saying is Jack D has been cleared and Jack S has been cleared, but still, no matter what, when you look at the video of Jack S with the white hoodie, he's out in the perimeter. He's out. It's almost like he wasn't wanting to get caught on camera. So he's kind of lurking in the darkness. It's weird, y'all. It's very, very weird. Okay? Nikki, thank you so much. Jack D, the X is way taller and bigger than were in previous photos. He towers Kaylee's father and mother. Okay? So, Jack D is the X. Jack S is the creepazoid. And yes, he's a lingerer, okay? Did he have to let it linger? Like, he lingered, okay? And that's weird. To me, that seems strange, okay? But I digress. Let's get back into this so that there's a little bit more clarification for all of us. Jack S is the one who allegedly has kicked rocks and is now in another country. And he went to Africa. Okay? All right. Let's continue.
Good evening, I'm Brian Enton, live in Moscow, Idaho, for this News Nation special report. 3 weeks ago, the unthinkable happened in this house behind me. 4 university students brutally murdered here. Their killer not only is still on the run, but still all of this remains a mystery 3 weeks later. And we have breaking news tonight. New details that we have just confirmed. News Nation is learning that Kaylee GonCalves' injuries were significantly more brutal than her best friend Maddie's injuries, which may end up being a very, very important piece of evidence when it comes to determining who the target was in this attack. I have learned Kaylee and Maddie were in an upstairs room in the house, so the killer had to go specifically upstairs to get to them. And again, that new information just confirmed that Kaylee's injuries were, quote, significantly more brutal.
Boom. So, Brian Enton, who I believe is a strong, credible source, has now just said, all right. And if there's echo, I'm sorry. I'll try to do what I can with the echo, okay? But allegedly, what he's saying is that her injuries were significantly more brutal. So what the pop said, what Steve Gonzalez said, is being confirmed and echoed again by Brian Enton or by News Nation. And there is a theory that this could very well have been a targeted attack, but a very, very messy targeted attack. Again, my theory, I'm still leaning on the theory that this monster went into the second floor thinking that the first room that monster walked into was that of Kaylee and Madison, did the unthinkable, realized it was the wrong people, and went upstairs to do even worse. Here's another thing, though, too. Here's another thing I keep thinking, too. What if there was a possibility of this monster, and this is crazy, too, and like I said, this is speculation land, so speculation warning. But what if this person, let's just say it was a guy like Jackass. Let's say if it was a guy like Jackass. Imagine if this person walked into that bedroom. He had previously, let's just say, within this speculation land, so let's say he made a pass at Kaylee. She rejected him, right? He was emotionally crushed. So much that he was so mad that he was like, if I can't have you, nobody can, let's just say. But he goes into that bedroom. He sees a man in the bed with a woman. So he sees Ethan and Xana, but he thinks that it is Kaylee with a man. This person gets upset and does the unthinkable. Then realizes, oh my gosh, wrong room, wrong people. But then he goes upstairs. He goes up those steps and goes after his target. Now, I'm just saying, speculation land, but what if? What if? Like I said, we could play this so many different ways. Shannon Miles says, oh my God, Pascal, that's exactly what I think happened. It was someone who loved Kaylee from afar. Exactly. They said, I just showed you guys another video, that there could have been another, like somebody was lurking, going after her, obsessed over her. They're looking at mail right now. So God knows what kind of things that she was receiving. What was she receiving in the mail, by the way? Everything's so digital. What was she receiving in the mail that they had to get that the parents had to sign off on? That's something that's very interesting to me as well, right? So I could see that being a thing where this person made a pass. She said, hell to the no, chucked up the deuces, went back home with her bestie, having a great time, passed out. Ethan and Xana went to their respective room. Angry creeper walks in, does the thing, thinking that she's with a man, realizes it's the wrong people, then goes upstairs and finishes off what they were focused on in the first place. And then unleashes all the rage on her, on this young woman. Again, theories, speculations. Nothing's been confirmed yet, but this is very sad. She also did work at other places. I just saw somebody said this could have been a customer. You're very right. Could have very well been a customer. Okay? Could have very well been a customer. Could have been a person at the bar. Could have been somebody that she ran into earlier the school year that made a pass at her, and she said nah and chucked up the deuces to them too. You never know. You just never know. It's just very sad. This whole thing is very, very sad. But let's continue with this video. All right?
That is new information that we are going to analyze coming up over the next hour. All of this really is a nightmare for this town, a nightmare that they cannot wake up from. Over the next hour, we are going to be diving into all of the details of this case, learning more about the victims and their families, trying to make sense of this unimaginable loss here in Idaho. We're going to go take you around the crime scene, show you what it looks like, as well as an exclusive look at the Idaho State Crime Lab. And we're going to remain focused throughout all of this on the victims and their family. To try and understand how we got to this point, first, we go back to the beginning. Moscow, Idaho, a beautiful, quiet college town near the border with Washington State, blanketed in snow this time of year, and home to the University of Idaho.
Now, real quick, of course, I have to cut through this in and out. I'm so sorry. And again, I appreciate all the super chats, real talk. But please hit that like button down below. I'd love it. I'd love to see it go past 1K. So please, before the end of this show, so please hit that like button, hit that like button, hit that like button. That would really, really mean a lot. And please do not forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. All right. It'd be great to have you a part of the Pascal Show family. And of course, for those of y'all who are just interested in supporting the channel, you can always hit that join button down below and become a family member. It'd be greatly appreciated, and it just helps this show and helps the platform continue to grow. So please just consider it. All right, I'd really appreciate it. Let me get the super chat really quick. Kelsey, thank you so much for the 5 Canadian. That makes complete sense, but I thought the parents said on TV that they were not on the floors of their rooms. Interesting. Now, if that's the piece of if that is true, I'm very interested to see what happens here. Because from my understanding, they were in their respective rooms, and then obviously what has happened. But we're about to hear in the beginning of this video, they tell us a full-on thing. They tell us a full-on breakdown of what's going on. Let's see. Hold on real quick before I continue. Okay. Well, there are some people, there are some platforms that I do question about their information. Of course, I'll be looking at other people's platforms for sure to hear more things, but I do have questions about certain platforms, where they're getting their information and if their information is true. That's all. But I'm seeing, you guys are bringing up certain platforms for me to check out. Some are more credible than others, in my personal opinion. So I just tread lightly with that information. Okay, guys, that's what I say. Consume what you want to consume. That's on you, but just make sure you're getting it from the right source. Let me continue. Let's get from the start of this, okay?
With 11,000 students who have almost never had a reason not to feel safe.
The worst crimes we see in town involve things like bike theft or cars getting keyed or something like that. We're a nice little artsy town that provides a great quality of life to a lot of people.
But what happened in the early morning hours of November 13th has shaken this community like never before.
I'm scared too. This is a worrying time, but we also have the ability to understand that this is just another example that crime happens, and it can happen anywhere.
Fear, a college community still in shock following the brutal stabbings of 4 of their students. So many asking, how did this happen? We start on the evening of Saturday, November 12th. Kaylee GonCalves and Madison Mogen, where many college students spend their Saturday nights. At this local bar, the Corner Club on North Main Street in downtown Moscow. According to local law enforcement, the two were at the bar between 10 p.m. and 1:30 a.m. on November 13th. At around 1:40 a.m., Kaylee and Madison moved over to a local food truck. You can see them here on surveillance video from the Grub Truck down the street on South Main Street. News Nation has confirmed the 2 women used a private party for a ride home from downtown to their home on King Road.
Did you see Jack? Okay. Jack S., I mean.
The home is about 1.5 miles or about a 6-minute drive from the food truck. They got home around 1:56 a.m. according to digital evidence collected by investigators. Investigators also say Kaylee and Madison made several calls to an ex-boyfriend of one of the girls 7 times, raising some eyebrows. That person has now been cleared, according to law enforcement. Kaylee GonCalves' sister spoke with News Nation's Chris Cuomo.
There's no boy problem. There's no threat. There's no high-risk lifestyle that could have indicated this. It has taken all of us completely by shock, and we have absolutely no ideas.
Another roommate, Xana Kernodle, and her boyfriend, Ethan Chapin, were also out the night of November 12th. Investigators confirm Ethan and Xana were seen at the Sigma Chi fraternity house on the University of Idaho campus. Here's where things get a little shaky. Law enforcement confirms with News Nation, Ethan and Xana were seen at the fraternity house around 9 p.m. They reportedly made it back home around 1:45 a.m. Investigators are still trying to piece together what happened between 9 p.m. and 1:45 a.m.
Figure out who they were with, what that was going on, maybe any routes or paths that they took to end up going home, those types of things. Potentially, that is critical to the investigation.
As for the 2 surviving roommates, they were also out on the night of November 12th in the Moscow community. They returned home by 1 a.m. The 2 surviving roommates did not wake up until later in the morning on November 13th. That is when they called other friends to the house because they believed one of the second-floor victims had passed out and was not waking up. At 11:58 a.m. on November 13th, a 911 call requested aid for an unconscious person. The call was made from one of the surviving roommates' cell phones inside the residence. Multiple people talked with the 911 dispatcher before Moscow police arrived at the home.
Now, here's the thing. This was a full-on thing, a full-on 911 call that was made from one of the roommates' cell phones, but yet they have yet to say who made that phone call. They're not giving out that information, which makes no sense whatsoever. I'm going to roll that back just a tiny bit because, like I said, there's just pieces here that 5-0 has not given out. They're not giving out pieces of information, which to me is extremely strange. They talk about somebody being passed out, that they have. It just doesn't make sense. Hold on. Let's just play it again so that we all can get this to make sense.
And Xana were seen at the fraternity house around 9 p.m. They reportedly made it back home around 1:45 a.m. Investigators are still trying to piece together what happened between 9 p.m. and 1:45 a.m.
Figure out who they were with, what that was going on, maybe any routes or paths that they took to end up going home, those types of things. Potentially, that is critical to the investigation.
As for the two surviving roommates, they were also out on the night of November 12th in the Moscow community. They returned home by 1 a.m. The two surviving roommates did not wake up until later in the morning on November 13th. That is when they called other friends to the house because they believed one of the second floor victims had passed out and was not waking up.
Passed out and was not waking up on the second floor. So you're saying Xana and Ethan that were on the second floor were passed out. What was that? And I hate to ask that question of like this added piece of information, but it does make you wonder, what did the scene look like? What did it look like for them to suddenly go, oh, they're passed out? Like, what the hell is that? Right? It just doesn't make sense. And again, they passed that. They went to sleep they went home at 1. They didn't wake up until 9. They woke up at 9. So they didn't hear nothing. Again, I understand the possibilities are real. Like, they could have not heard a damn thing, right? And some people are heavy sleepers. Somebody said yesterday on last night's show, okay? Somebody said on last night's show that their brother slept through a tornado and that didn't even realize a tornado happened. Slept right through that mug. Strange. I mean, it's wild, but those things do happen, okay? It depends on what kind of edibles you're taking too. Let's be real. But at the same time, you could be in that deep sleep. But I mean, damn, just doesn't make sense. All right. But let's continue.
11:58 a.m. on November 13th, a 911 call requested aid for an unconscious person. The call was made from one of the surviving roommates' cell phones inside the residence. Multiple people talked with the 911 dispatcher before Moscow police arrived at the home. Officers discovered Kaylee, Madison, Xana, and Ethan dead inside the residence on the second and third floors of the home, suffering from stab wounds.
It was a pretty large knife, so it's really hard to call them puncture wounds. And they were definitely stabbings. And I mean, it has to be somebody that's pretty angry in order to stab 4 people to death.
So many questions unanswered. Authorities remaining tight-lipped, saying there are many details still simply don't know. Do you know inside the house whether the victims' doors were locked into their individual rooms?
I don't know that.
Do you know were any messages left behind in the house, like almost symbols from the killer? Because sometimes in other cases, you know, if it was like a fetish killing, they would leave something on the body or write something on the wall. Is there anything like that?
I'm not aware of anything like that.
While authorities remain tight-lipped, we are learning other details from the families of the victims. The vigil on campus Wednesday night, Kaylee's father gave insight into how close his daughter and Madison were discovered, saying the two were found together in the same bed. Earlier this week, there was confusion when law enforcement said there was a miscommunication between police and the county prosecutor about whether this was a targeted attack or not.
My understanding is the investigators believe that whoever's responsible was specifically looking at this particular residence. That's all that they can offer at this point.
Again, you have family members that, of course, are trying to find out what the heck is going on here. But then you got people who are sitting here saying, hey, we don't know anything. Oh, was there any red on the walls? Was there a message left behind? Was there anything of that sort that was going on? There's certain things, we don't know. We don't have any of that kind of stuff. Like, it's all up in the air. But still, to me, it's so strange that you got a phone call that was made, a 911 phone call. I'm sorry, I don't mean to linger on this one, but I got to go back to it real quick. where they say that some on the second floor somebody was passed out. What was the room like? You're telling me there wasn't red everywhere? You didn't smell the smell of demise? They had been there for hours. Like I said, it doesn't make sense for them to call and say, there's somebody who is passed out here. When, to me, and of course we haven't seen the scene, right? We haven't seen the crime scene, right? But it does make you wonder, like, what, they didn't leak? They didn't leak out? There wasn't red? It's just so strange to me. The phone call doesn't make sense to me. And then on top of it, they can't even tell us who made the phone call. And then, yes, I know that part, that one of the girls that survived did pass out just after she called the police. So the phone call, the 911 call, there were other phone calls made then. Do you see what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense for them to call to say if the first phone call was, oh my gosh, somebody has passed out. I don't know. Like I said, the math is not mathing to me, and I get the shock, right? The shock, pure shock of seeing a scene like that. I can only imagine, right? But then there was, like I said, there was only one call. So then there must be something mixed up within this, within the information that they're giving us, because that doesn't make any sense. And no offense, if yes, that is a big deal, somebody passing out, but I feel like the main piece of information that we should be hearing is there are people that are unalive in this room right now. And this person passed out at the same time. You see what I'm saying? I feel like they're focusing on the wrong thing, or this might be a misunderstanding, and it's making all of us out here go into crazy speculation land of why didn't they just say that there were two bodies in that room that were not breathing? Not, oh, there's somebody passed out. You see what I'm saying? Anyway, like I said, strange.
The latest from police is they do think the murders were targeted, but police say they have not concluded if the target was the house or one of the occupants. Investigators have also confirmed a sixth person on the lease was not in the home at the time of the murders. And the roommates and friends who lived in this house behind me were so many things to so many people. Jokesters, a fashionista, some prolific photographers. They were really just typical college kids preparing to take on the world. Their friendships so deep.
Didn't even do their chores today. I'm just gonna do it.
The roommates could rock spot-on impressions of one another.
It's 8. Gotta go. Jake's calling. Oh, Jake's calling.
Two of the young women grew up together. Madison Mogen, Maddie from Coeur d'Alene, and best friend Kaylee GonCalves from nearby Rathdrum, Idaho. Roommate Xana Kernodle went to high school close by in Post Falls, and her boyfriend Ethan Chapin from out of state, Mount Vernon, Washington. All coming together at the University of Idaho, the tiny college town of Moscow.
Community is reacting with grief, concern. These were 4 very popular people on campus.
Emotions raw at a community vigil on campus Wednesday, including Ethan Chapin's mother.
My name is Stacy Chapin. I'm Ethan's mom.
Her 20-year-old coming to the university this fall with his brother and sister. Triplets, they were inseparable. Ethan's last day spent accompanying Sister Maisie to her sorority formal. Yet the freshman was usually with his girlfriend, Xana Kernodle, a junior studying marketing and reveling in the pair's growing relationship. A proud post of Mouse and Chef, a playful version of Ratatouille.
And I want people to take this personally because She was everyone's daughter.
Kaylee GonCalves' sister talking to News Nation's Chris Cuomo about her younger sister. Kaylee was finishing her senior year strong, with her best friend, Madison Mogen, always at her side.
So then they went to high school together. Then they started looking at colleges. They came here together.
From tweens to Lake City High, teachers say the two girls never parted. Roommates at the University of Idaho, Maddie did join a different sorority, and the live music lover showed off her marketing skills, running the social media account at the Mad Greek restaurant where she worked.
And in the end, they died together, in the same room, in the same bed.
Thank all the people working on trying to figure this out, and it really means a lot.
Artsy and funky Moscow, Idaho, the perfect backdrop for the college journey.
Hey guys, I know I talk about myself a lot, but like, what would you guys do in my situation?
The home on King Road, which once hosted Forever Friends, now bears visible scars of the unthinkable. 4 young lives taken, who, as shown on Xana's high school graduation cap, had their sights set on giving the world so much more.
Make sure that you spend as much time as possible with those people, because time is precious and it's something you can't get back.
It's just so heartbreaking what these families are going through. I had the chance to sit down with the GonCalves family in Kaylee's home. Their loss, it is so heavy, and they have been vocal about their relentless search for justice and frustrations with the investigation. Here is part 1 of our conversation.
Now, we've already seen this part 1, okay? We've already seen all of this because they put out a bunch of stuff in here.
And I don't know, it's several things. It's her age. It's how it happened.
It's her life.
Why it happened. Who did this to her?
Just graduated.
Who did this to her and her friends? The fact that she was with her best friend. Since they were little girls.
That family tonight is so heartbroken. I've been in touch with them. It's literally unimaginable to think about what they are going through, but they are so determined to find this killer, and they say they are going to keep the pressure on the police until that happens.
Yeah, and you can see it. Obviously, we've been seeing how that family has been doing everything they can to keep this story out here, to keep it fresh, to keep it relevant, to keep Kaylee, Ethan, Xana, and Madison's names in everybody's minds, on everybody's lips. You can tell that they are not going to let up until they get some semblance of justice, for sure. This is absolutely devastating. I can only imagine what a family, what a family could be going through with something like this. Again, it's so sad, and I'm hoping that by us talking about it here and all that, we can get a little bit closer to something. And again, jackass, I'm hearing through the conversations here. No, I have not pulled it up yet. We will be pulling that up here shortly. Okay, what the surviving roommates have said in a statement through the pastor during their celebration of life of these 4. But what's interesting and what's sad is that we still have nothing. We have nothing here. We have heard nothing. We have gotten nothing. This is frustrating, y'all. This is absolutely frustrating. I'm going to play a little bit more of this. Like I said, there's so much more to this episode that I strongly recommend you guys go and checking out. It's a very good piece, but we already saw a good amount of the interviews and pieces that they kind of leaked last night. This was what they showed in its entirety last night as well. But I'm going to show you a little bit more, and then we're going to move on to the next piece here.
Okay, coming up, we're going to talk more about that breaking news that we learned about just tonight about the condition of the bodies. We are live tonight from Moscow, Idaho.
Up next, Xana's mom breaks her silence for the first time.
We need more answers.
And internet sleuths are on the case.
And this is my theory on like multiple parts of the case, okay?
But when does it help the investigation and when does it go too far? In Moscow, Idaho tonight, the murder mystery.
You know what? I'm going to say that too. You know, sometimes we're great. Sometimes the internet sleuths are fantastic. And sometimes it's absolutely bad. And we've seen it countless times on many, many cases. Yeah, it sucks that true crime content creators, etc., are getting a bad rap from time to time instead of helping making things happen, right?
Has reignited the murder here. The online sleuthing community who gained notoriety during the search for Gabby Petito in 2021. We are talking about the armchair detectives, people who sift through social media looking for any possible clue. And in the vacuum of information from Moscow police, their voices are louder than ever. Here's News the Nation's Ashley Banfield.
What we know is that 6 missed calls were made from Kaylee to Jack's phone, her ex-boyfriend.
From the start, amateur investigators shared their theories on the Moscow, Idaho quadruple murders. The case has gripped the nation. People are craving as much information as possible, trying to put the pieces together themselves.
I'm going to talk about the slayings in Moscow, Idaho.
I'm wondering if it was a friend, not one of the roommates.
This is just as pretty much everybody talking about this case, pure speculation.
Partly fueled by a lack of information from the police.
Everybody has an opinion and they want to come out and say it. And so what that does is that detracts from the public's ability to trust the information that's out there.
Police have always had to work around rumors. They sift through leads, discarding the hoaxes and the hearsay to try to get to the credible tips. But the sheer volume of tips in this case could take a toll on police resources. But they could also crack the case. Nearly 500 digital media tips have come in to an FBI page dedicated to the case. The Moscow police are on rumor control, both on their website and during their news conferences. Often, the rumors get started on social media.
Okay, I have no qualifications to be speaking on the Idaho murders other than the fact that I just have been keeping up with them. And this is my theory on multiple parts of the case, okay?
Social media sites seizing the moment, setting algorithms to gain traction on the Idaho case. TikTok posts with the hashtag Idaho Murders have more than 90 million views. Reddit forums with 27,000 members, and private Facebook groups, each with tens of thousands of people, are all talking about the Idaho murders and are ripe with wild speculation, many delving into Kaylee, Xana, Madison, and Ethan's own social media accounts. But these crowdsourced investigations can also ruin lives as they track down so-called suspects on their own. First, it was the young man in the hoodie seen at the food truck in a video that surfaced days after the murders. Police were flooded with questions about who he was.
I think a lot of people were curious about that person. We were able to identify him.
Police have since cleared that man.
Again, why did they clear him? I'm sorry, this is weird. Just saying. Just seeing this footage alone, I'm sorry. If you were 5-0 or a person on the side, okay? I'm sorry. Weird. Just weird. Okay? Any person would look at that and go, what's up with that? I understand the theories, the people going out with their speculations and all that, and then other people taking those theories and running with it and running rampant. Yes, I get it. The rumor mill out here in these streets is real, and it is going off like a powder keg. But at the same time, though, when you see other things like videos like this, you can't help but ask questions. Just saying.
But online sleuths soon turned their attention to a new suspect, a neighbor of the victims named Jeremy Reagan. He's a third-year law student at the University of Idaho and gave a TV interview about the comings and goings at the house where the kids were murdered. He admits that he'd given a nervous smile while talking about the crime. Some viewers took issue and made him a target. Soon he moved from target to suspect, and it was open season on the internet.
Okay, let me say this. This is when things in the social media world, with the internet sleuths and all that stuff, this is when this turns into a nightmare. This is when it turns into negative, because there's so many things that were so great when internet sleuths were looking into Gabby Petito and all these other cases, because without people talking and diving into those things, maybe there would have been a completely different result. But at the same time, this is when it turns into a cesspool. This is when it turns into people going and attacking the wrong people with no facts, with no evidence backing it up. They just go, oh, this person's creepy and we're bored and we need to focus all of our anger at somebody. So we're just going to give it all to this one dude because he came on and he's socially awkward on camera and he happened to smirk at one moment. Oh, that's a dead giveaway that he's the person who did these things. That doesn't mean anything, guys. It really doesn't. But this is the bad part. This is the sad part of this social media sleuth, social media true crime community. It's a double-edged sword. As much as I love it, there is so much to be cautious of, because we take a little information, we just run. Oh, that person must be it. And that's not right. Then you make that person's life a living hell. Now this guy, Jeremy, has this attached to his name forever. Whether this story gets solved, whether this case gets solved or not, he will now always be in the back of other people's minds a suspect. Now, we just ruined a guy's life. And I'm saying whether or not he is the person who did this, all right? Because we don't know if he did anything. We don't know anything. But if he checked out, then he checked out. But there are other people that have been checked out that are still questionable. This could just very well be an innocent dude that lived next door, that saw some things that might be a little bit socially awkward, and that's it. And now, because most of us get bored and we want to find something to point our anger towards, our frustration towards, we start aiming at it. We start going after things aimlessly. That's what I'm trying to say. It can get very bad. God forbid somebody gets hurt because of beliefs, because of internet rumor mill, right? Same thing, yes, Richard Jewell. Let's not forget, yeah. Precy, exactly. That's another story, which was wild. Media just ran with it and just absorbed the rumors and blamed one guy. It's crazy, but let's continue. Like I said, it's the double-edged sword of what we all do. And I get it that it all comes from a place of wanting to find the most of us are doing it because it comes from a place of passion, comes from a place of concern, and it comes from a place of love and trying to find justice. There are other people out here that'll just make things up just so they can get a click, just so they can get a view, just so that they can get a few eyeballs and a few followers and subscribers, a few cash apps or whatever, right? That's why I say we have to be careful out here. You know, I've been fooled before too, believing information and only to find out that that is not true. I have done it too. Okay? And that's what sucks about it. We have to be careful. And before we start attacking, we need to ask questions before we start shooting. Does that make sense? Let's continue.
People online have just been ruthless. They went through and gone through all of my social media history over the past decade, partly because of all the reports that the people had sent in about me in the interview I did.
Reagan has spoken with the police and even volunteered his DNA. But when he didn't hear back from the officers, he simply went to the station himself and gave police a sample. But as amateur investigators continue to dig deep into his personal life, contacting his friends and his family, Jeremy is now so concerned that he carries a pistol for protection.
Yo. Dude, I didn't even know that piece of information. He went there and said, yo, take my DNA. Take it as evidence. That's how much I know for a fact that I'm an innocent. Take my ish. What do you need me to do? What kind of fluids do you need? Do you need them all? Including some snot? Like, just, what do you need? Hair, urine, blood, snot, everything? Literally. What guilty man does that? I mean, unless you're Kevin Spacey in Seven. But other than that, what guilty man does that? Great movie, by the way. But again, what person does that? To me, screaming innocent, in my personal opinion. And I know a lot of people have their theories. Okay? A lot of people have theories. Okay? But we need to jump up a little bit further because we need to get into this breaking news piece right here, which is what you guys came here for. But like I said, we just have to be careful on what we're saying here, okay? And what we're getting out, what information we're putting out here in these internet streets, because it can be dangerous. People get pissed off and can do unthinkable things. Think about what just happened with the Idaho 4. Let's be real. If somebody's capable, if somebody or somebodies, because there could have been two people, you never know. If there's two people or a person that's capable of doing something this heinous, God forbid, somebody who's angry and takes it out on the wrong person, it's possible. It just hasn't happened yet, from my knowledge.
For the special today, the new information is that Kaylee GonCalves' injuries were significantly more brutal. That is what I can say. Significantly more brutal than her best friend Maddie's injuries. What do you make of that new piece of information, Ashley?
Well, it's astounding, for one, because this is the first time, Brian, that you've been able to get the kind of information that helps us to perhaps try to figure out why this happened. Not saying this is definitive, but it certainly is one additional clue as to whether perhaps Kaylee might have been the target. But you got more information that makes it almost more complicated, and that is where the girls were found. So walk us through what you discovered today, because many of us didn't know which room when Kaylee's father said they were found in the same room and in the same bed.
Yeah, let me show you, Ashley. I want to take you up the hill here and get you oriented. This is the front of the house. There's now private security out front. And oh my, because it's going and it's very, very slippery. But we're going to walk you up to the back of the house. No windows on the side of the house. You've got the front door obviously on the front, which we know has the coded lock. On the back of the house, though, is where the bedrooms are. Confirmed that Kaylee's injuries.
Brian, I think we just lost your mic, and I'm not sure. There, no, you're back. You're back. Can you just repeat what you said in the last 10 seconds? Your mic went dead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was explaining that we confirmed that Kaylee's injuries were more significantly brutal than Maddie's. We've also confirmed that they were on the third floor. I'm going to have Mo show you. Third floor here, where not easy access. You've got the balcony. There's a slider. You can't easily jump up there. So what this has us wondering, Ashley, and I want you to kind of walk through this with me. If Kaylee's injuries were the most severe up on the third floor, and there's no way out of the third floor, would that mean the killer specifically targeted the third floor, because it doesn't make any sense. Why would the killer go up to a floor where there would not be an easy exit for him? What do you make of that, Ashley?
Well, it's significant in that we still don't know where the killings began. Did they begin on the second floor where Xana Kernodle's room was? And of course, Ethan had been staying over that night. And we now know that that room was the room on the far side of the house. So not the side of the house that you're on right now, on the other side of the house at the front of the house. That's Xana and Ethan's. And then did they progress to the third floor? And while your mic was cutting out, I think the key piece of information that the audience couldn't hear was which room upstairs on the third floor the girls were actually found in. That before now, we only knew they were found together, but we didn't know in Maddie's room or in Kaylee's room. And so as we look at the third floor map right there, bedroom number E, or bedroom E, is Maddie's bedroom, and it looks out the back of the house. And bedroom F is Kaylee's bedroom, and it looks out the front, but also the back where the slider is. So what did you discover about which room? Maddie's room on the left or Kaylee's room on the right?
That's right. We've confirmed that they were in Maddie's room, which is also interesting. That's something that we did not know. So Kaylee's injuries were significantly more brutal, but they were sleeping together in Maddie's room. So that helps put the puzzle together. There's also something new that helped put the puzzle together, and it was on your show. It was an exclusive interview you had on your show Friday night with Xana's mother. We had never heard from her before. She called into your show. I want to play what she said, and then we can talk about it on the other side, Ashley.
Her father mentioned to me that he had just went and replaced the lock the weekend before.
You said her father mentioned to you that they had replaced the lock?
Yes, that he had fixed it or something. But yeah, he said that he had fixed it the week before, just to make sure
the week before.
It was still, yeah. I do not think it was the house that was targeted. I believe wholeheartedly that it was those kids who were targeted.
She just said the lock was fixed before. So they went, had the lock fixed. That the father was working on the lock, and yet this still happened. And of course, the mother even said, Xana's mother even said, I do believe that it was they were targeted, not the house. Because clearly, if the house was targeted, let's keep it real. If the house was targeted, all of them, this would be Idaho 6, not Idaho 4. Let's continue.
They weren't just acquaintances. These kids were like best friends. They practically were family. These kids were tight-knit. They were good friends. They were like family. They were around each other constantly. They did everything together. How could it not be a planned thing? How could it not have been targeted?
Voice of Xana's mom here?
Okay, so, yeah. I wanted to ask you actually two significant things that stood out to me during that interview. Number one, what she said about the door locks. Number two, that she feels that, I think she put it, these kids were targeted. Talk to me about why those two things, they're new, and what do they mean?
Critical. And I just wanted to make sure that our viewers knew that was the voice of Xana's mom. She wasn't on video because she's so distraught. That was just her voice that we heard. But she said that the locks had been worked on by Steve, or rather by Jeff Kernodle, Xana's dad, just the weekend before. She couldn't confirm whether the lock that he had fixed was on Xana's room or whether it was a lock to the outside of the house. But I did say, did the rooms have individual locks? And she believed that Xana's room did have a lock. So very, very significant, because we've been trying to figure out, and there's a picture right there on the screen on the left-hand side, is what one of the rooms in the house used to have in it, a coded lock to get into an individual bedroom, and that each bedroom had a coded lock. That was 3 years ago, and we're not sure if each bedroom still has a coded lock. But it's critical because we've tried to figure out, how did the killer get in to a locked bedroom, and then how did the door perhaps get locked on the way out so that the roommates couldn't get in and thought someone was passed out on the other side? That's critical. But I also think it's very critical that she thinks that the target was the kids, not the home, and that it was someone they knew and trusted. And then one more thing, Brian, about the fact that the girls were found in Maddie's room and not Kaylee's room. I think it's important for our viewers to know that Kaylee was in the process of moving out. So it's possible that many of her things were scattered all over the bed, or the bed was in pieces or had no bedding, and that's why she might have been in her best friend's room. But if the killer went into Maddie's room and yet Kaylee had more injuries, and it's dark, it's the middle of the night, this complicates things even more. Because if Kaylee was the target, then how would the killer know which one of the girls that was in Maddie's room if they were sleeping? Because they look a lot alike, and in the dark, it would be very tricky to tell. And certainly it wasn't Kaylee's room. So very, very big find that you've discovered, but even more complicating.
Okay. A lot being said here. Let me just say this really quick. I said it earlier that maybe that there was it could be a mistake, mistaken identity, etc. It's dark. It's not like not like this monster just turned on the lights and said, "Surprise! Here to get you." You know what I mean? Clearly, stealth-like, came in, did its thing. Many possibilities of mistaken identity. One thing I want to point out, though, too, as far as the door. What if the door wasn't locked? What if there was something blocking it, if you get what I'm saying? What if it was, because I've saw in the chat, and I also heard that through the grapevine as well, that Ethan may not have been actually in his bed. In the bed with Xana. He might have been out of the bed, allegedly. So what are the chances of what if this person, maybe a small struggle, whatever, he fell, Ethan, on the ground, and maybe blocked the door. That could very well be it. Megs just said that too. Ethan was behind the door. And if that's the case, maybe that's what they meant by, they can't get in. Somebody's passed out. So that could be the misunderstanding that we're all looking at, going, hey, how can somebody sit here and go, I don't see him. Where did he go? Or I don't see him. Somebody's passed out. They could literally say somebody's passed out and not actually see. They could just see somebody who's blocking the door from them being able to get in there and say that person's passed out without actually seeing the grisly scene, right? Then one of the roommates that did call 911, when they finally open the door and they actually see this horrific scene in the first room, that could cause somebody to pass out. Definitely. After seeing something like that, because it's hard for us to imagine that they walked into the room with Ethan and Xana and didn't see nothing strange on the walls, if you get what I'm saying. So I could see this being a thing where Ethan's body was up against the wall, or up against the door, blocking the door. That's when they realized there's somebody passed out on the other side of this door. Call 911, opened the door, or were able to shove it enough for them to squeeze through the crack of the door that they made, see the scene, pass out. That could happen too. But this is, like I said, such terrible stuff here. Terrible, terrible stuff. Kooky Cat, thank you so much for the £5. I feel the girls were first, then Ethan, and then Xana. Was Ethan not found in kitchen area, and Xana only one with a defense wounds? Okay, maybe they heard girls screaming. Yeah, I don't know. That's the one thing that I'm trying to find out too, is specifically where their bodies were found, where their remains were found. But if we're hearing that there's a possibility of Ethan maybe blocking the door, then I can see something like that happening, because it doesn't make sense that these doors were not kicked in, not tampered with. But again, there's a lot of things that you do when you're drunk. There's a lot of things that you'll forget to do when you're drunk. So maybe that's what happened. I don't know. It's just like Tyler just said, it's sickening. It's absolutely awful. I completely agree. This is just a mind-blowing situation that I'm still trying to wrap my mind around, right? That I think we all are trying to understand. Okay? But we still are trying to break this down, trying to make this all make sense. But before we continue, please hit that like button down below. I would love to see it get past 1K. So please hit that like button down below, please. Okay. Love to see it go 1K. We got 1,400 souls watching the show. And if you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe button. Hit it. Make it scream out your name. It'd be greatly, greatly appreciated. Okay. We're going to play a little bit more of this special, which, like I said, I think they did a very good job of breaking things down, letting us understand a little bit more, because I know some of y'all are knee deep in this, right, into this case, but I know a lot of y'all, there's a good portion of y'all that are not. So let's continue with a little bit more, okay?
Yeah, certainly some big developments tonight that really help us piece together the story. Ashley, I know you've been covering this every single night on your show. You and I have been on the phone late at night discussing all of this, and we'll continue to do the same thing next week. Ashley, thanks so much for coming on tonight.
You bet.
Okay, we've still got a lot more to come.
Into their own hands.
You know, there's so much frustration among the community. So many people are wanting answers quickly because, you know, you see the TV shows. They think that they can get these results fast, but it seems like it really does take quite a bit of time.
Right, it does. That's exactly what we learned from the Idaho State Crime Lab. The fact of the matter is that this is an incredibly complex crime scene, and obviously with the killer still on the loose, every bit of evidence is crucial to try to crack this case open.
The knife, the incredible amount of blood, and the complexity of a bustling home with plenty of visitors. The forensics team is on a case like few others.
It's so very complex. We're not talking about a person that just randomly walks up on the street and stabs somebody and walks away. We're talking about 4 individuals here.
Forensics professor and Body Bags podcast host Joseph Scott Morgan also taking note of how the murderer slipped into the home on Moscow's Kings Road. No broken windows, no broken doors.
And for the investigators, that's a big piece of information. It goes from, if you're looking at a potential suspect, what level of familiarity did they have with this environment? Did they feel comfortable in it? Did they know their way around? Would they say, you know what, maybe I don't want to go in the bottom? Keep in mind, the 2 people that live downstairs, they didn't die.
And also in this case, a complicated stew of DNA from the roommates and, as a Hopping college house, many guests.
It'll spin, it'll inject the blank, it'll spin back.
News Nation getting an exclusive look inside the Idaho State Crime Lab outside Boise.
So this is the DNA casework lab.
Ready for the complexity of this case and others. The lab demonstrating for News Nation how elimination fingerprinting works for cases with a crowded home or in a car with passengers.
You can see that's a really nice print that you left on the glass.
But Idaho's Director of Forensic Services reminds the public, speedy and slick TV evidence processing is not the real deal.
We call it the CSI effect. Some people think, well, we should be able to do this, but the technology doesn't exist for that yet.
Time certainly moving slowly back in Moscow with the decision to tow the victim's car weeks after the murders.
Wherever it is they're storing them, I hope that it would be at the Idaho State Crime Lab, because at crime labs, they have actual evidence processing garages. At that scene, what did they have? They had a piece of yellow tape going around that was providing security.
One solid tip, bolstered by the careful processing of a single clue left behind. The best hope to find justice for 4 young lives.
And just fascinating to see inside that crime lab, the work that they do behind the scenes. Explain to us why this in particular is such a complicated scene.
Right. Well, I kind of briefly mentioned it in the story, but when you think about it, I mean, just look at it. It's a rather large house, first and foremost. 3 stories to it. That's a whole lot of evidence for investigators to comb through. And then not to mention just the proximity to where it is on the college campus, frat row. Obviously, some of the fraternities and sororities are just about 200 yards away. We're told that this was a place where people partied, people socialized. And so that's a whole lot of people that are coming in and out of this home, which could really muck up and blur some of those lines and that evidence in there.
And I know police are remaining tight-lipped for the most part, but do we have a time frame when more of this evidence could come back, the testing?
Well, this is the benefit of actually being able to go to the Idaho State Crime Lab, right? We were able to ask them that, and they told us that they've already processed some of this evidence and they've gotten it back into the hands of the detectives. So right now, information is coming in and they are processing new information, but obviously this could take weeks as like I mentioned, a lot of evidence to comb through.
Thanks so much, Alex. Yeah, it's just fascinating to see inside that crime lab. It's not often that you get to see inside a crime lab like that.
Yeah, and that's very true. I agree. You don't get to see all that stuff and get to see what happens behind the veil, behind the curtain of how they piece things together like this. And of course, there's more to that video. There's more to that whole episode. We saw a good portion of it, but by all means, go over to News Nation and take a look at the full video. I mean, it's very, obviously, as you would see, very well done, very well, looked into, and of course, they're trying to get as many answers as they can about this, because again, this is crazy. This is a crazy and wild story. And again, the house, gigantic. Okay, let me show you that here really quick. The house is absolutely gigantic as I'm setting up this other video here. But you can see the house is big, 3 floors, right? You had something that happened on the 2nd and 3rd floors. There's a lot of evidence. There's a lot of DNA. There's a lot of things that they have to sift through. This is going to take some time, right? Now, of course, there's other things that, that other people in that area can do, which is looking at their surveillance footage, looking at their cameras, looking at everything that they got, just making sure that they all comb through, okay? Comb through this whole thing to find out what maybe there's something in that footage or in anything that they may have that shows some foul play, that shows something strange in here. But to me, I'm still kind of leaning towards we should be looking into the people that they've already let go. There's a lot of suspects that are still, there's a lot of questionable things that are popping off, guys. And they're not even trying to double back and get those answers on those things. And that's something that I find extremely awkward, in my personal opinion. But here is a little bit of the what the surviving roommates had to say. I think that we need to hear that, of course, and see that piece here. So take a listen.
3 weeks later, more questions, few answers, no suspects, as friends remember 4 lives lost.
How truly special I felt to be your friend.
For the first time, we hear from the 2 surviving roommates inside at the time of the stabbings in their own words.
I'm going to be reading 2 different letters, one from Dylan and one from Bethany.
Their letters read by a pastor at a service held this weekend. From Dylan Mortensen.
My life was greatly impacted to have known these 4 beautiful people.
And Bethany Funk.
Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan were truly all one of a kind. They all lit up any room they walked into and were gifts to this world.
Officials say the surviving roommates have been ruled out as potential suspects. Their 4 friends stabbed to death in the early morning hours of November 13th, likely while asleep in their beds. With no suspects or murder weapon, the Moscow Police Department still following leads in the investigation, digging through more than 100 pieces of evidence on top of thousands of calls, tips, and emails, maintaining the fatal stabbings were targeted. The department also focused on dispelling misinformation, saying there is speculation without factual backing, stoking community fears and spreading false information. But in this tight-knit town, frustration is boiling over. The father of one of the 4 victims, Kaylee GonCalves, is speaking out about the investigation to Fox News.
Now, we already know about this stuff. We already heard this piece, but of course, just hearing from the surviving victims of this heinous crime, it is, absolutely devastating to hear any of this stuff. And the fact that there's so many people that are still grieving over this, understandably. But then there is a little piece that I have. It's a question that a reporter asked the police. Apparently, they said, I asked the police this. The answer down below is the answer for why no reward is being offered yet. So the question that we've all been wondering, hey, why hasn't there been an offer? Why haven't they gone and said, why haven't they said, okay, let's put out a reward so we can get some information here. This is a question that we are finally getting answered. And thank you to everybody who tagged me in this and sent this to me as well, because I wouldn't have been able to find this without your help. So thank you. But this is kind of low, but just take a listen. It's very strange, but here we go.
At this point in time, we have a lot of tips that we're working through. We have over 1,000 tips that have been submitted. And so a lot of these tips are very quality, and we continue working them. There's no shortage of information that we have. We have to process every single tip that comes through, really analyze it and evaluate it. In some cases, we have received some really interesting ones that are not helpful at all because they have no relation to this. But many of our tips are very good. One of the other things is, we continue asking for additional video, additional tips, additional information. We know that students have come back into the area. They may have additional information. We've also heard that, some of the students might be underage and they might be, partying or whatever it is. This investigation is not concerned about, some of those activities. What we are concerned about is gathering evidence. And so, if there is a student out there that, doesn't want to come forward because they might have been doing something on the video that maybe they shouldn't have been doing, that's not what we're looking for.
So, of course, a lot of people are wondering, why hasn't there been rewards, etc.? But they're also sitting here saying, hey, we've been getting so many tips. We've been getting all this stuff. It could cause more chaos, but at the same time, to me, I think that the family should be able to put out a reward for any information out here, get some stuff, get closer to finding out what the hell is going on here. Okay. Cause this is weird. Bill, Capt just said, hoodie guy looked pissed too. I agree. The guy looks sus. In my personal opinion, looks sus. And if he's in Africa and he hasn't returned yet, that's sus as hell to me too. Cause school has already started, baby. They're supposed to be going into finals and stuff right now, right? Aren't they supposed to be doing all that ish? So it is strange to me that this is that that 5-0 local 5-0 has not been sitting here saying, yeah, go ahead and put out the missing, put out the reward signs, etc. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. Let's find out what the hell is going on here, right? That's something I do find very, very strange, and I get it. They want it to seem like it's a quiet, small, safe town, but it's not safe right now. There's somebody out there that has done something unthinkable, and they have not been arrested yet. They haven't. These kids should be able to go and matriculate with free of any of these concerns. Be able to go, learn, get their stuff, get their education, get their degrees, and go back to wherever they came from with happiness and their degrees so that they can live their lives and pursue the future that they have laid out in front of them. Not this other BS. So by them not letting them do the reward, I think is absolute BS in my personal opinion. I think it's absolute 110% BS. Hey, if it means that you get more information, ain't that a good thing? Yeah, it may lead you down 15 different roads, but still, at least it's a step in the right direction, in my personal opinion. At least it's being proactive rather than inactive, in my personal opinion. But anyway, guys, I'll be right back in 29 seconds. I wanted to create something that we could start a very important conversation about mental health and remind those that are lost in the dark that we're here to guide them towards the light. Suicide has taken so many of our loved ones, and it needs to stop. My hope is by wearing these t-shirts and hoodies, we can stop these tragedy and start some conversations. Remember, you are not alone. Yes, you are not alone. Remember, you are not alone. Please go and check out PascalMerch.com. We have a really, really great 12 days of giveaways that we're in the middle of right now as we speak. Every single day, there's a new deal going on. So you can go and check out those things. If you like my hoodies, t-shirts, mugs, etc., my tracksuits, everything like that, please go and check that out. We also have our suicide awareness t-shirts and hoodies readily available. So if you like those personalized tie-dyed t-shirts and hoodies, by all means, go and check those out. That would be really, really great and really, really appreciated. It's all for a great cause. But anyway, guys, again, this is a crazy situation, an unfortunate situation that we still don't know the answer to as we speak. We are still trying to figure it out. Of course, there are a lot of other shows that are all trying to understand it as well, break it down, and get down to the nitty gritty of what's really going down here. But of course, I'll be keeping close watch on this story and many others, because we do have a lot of other open cases that I'm still looking at and watching as well. But also be sure to be on tonight at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I will be on with Perez Hilton. I will be live with Perez Hilton, talking with him about all the things that are going on, that have gone on today or that have gone on in pop culture in the last couple days. So be sure to tune in. It's going to be a great conversation, a great time. So again, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, I will be on with Mr. Perez Hilton himself. All right. But anyway, guys, I appreciate all y'all for being here. I'll see you guys tonight at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I hope that by doing this show and all of us watching and being a part of this, we are bringing, hopefully, getting us closer to swift justice for the four. They all four deserve as much justice as anyone else. This is so devastating and so sad. And my heart, my thoughts, my prayers go out to every single person that has been deeply affected by this situation, by this case. Let's get them justice as quickly as we can. All right. So anyway, guys, it's time to get going. But do me a favor before I get going, hit that like button down below. That would really, really mean a lot. Do not forget to do that. Send it past 1K before you leave. A like doesn't cost a thing. It just helps the show. And of course, if you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe button. Be great to have you a part of the Pascal Show family. All right, guys. Anyway, it is time to get going. I'll see you guys tonight. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. And I'll see you guys very soon. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.